Here's something that genuinely messes with your head when you see it up close. A nurse making $52,000 a year retires with $1.3 million. Her colleague, same hospital, same shift, same paycheck, retires with almost nothing. A software engineer pulling in $190,000 a year can't scrape together a 3-month emergency fund. Meanwhile, a middle school teacher from Ohio quietly crosses the $500,000 mark before her 50th birthday. Same economy, same inflation, same stock market, wildly different financial destinations. I've studied this pattern obsessively. And the answer isn't income. It isn't education. It isn't even discipline in the way most people define it. It comes down to a set of mental rewires, small, almost invisible shifts in how a person thinks about money, that compound over time into completely different financial realities. Here are the 10 that matter most. If success is your goal and you're ready to level up, make sure you subscribe. Every video is crafted to move you closer to the life you deserve. Move 1. They measure wealth in assets, not paychecks. Most people use their salary as their financial report card. High salary equals winning, low salary equals struggling. Quietly wealthy people throw that scorecard out entirely. They measure wealth in one thing: net worth, not gross income, not hourly rate. Not what's hitting their bank account on the 15th and the 30th. Net worth, what they own minus what they owe. This distinction sounds simple. It is not simple. It completely rewires every financial decision you make. When you're optimizing for income, you chase raises and bonuses. When you're optimizing for net worth, you chase assets. Assets that appreciate, assets that produce cash flow, assets that work while you're asleep. The $52,000 nurse was obsessively tracking her net worth. The $190,000 engineer was tracking his lifestyle. That's the whole game right there. Move 2. Every dollar has a future. Here's a reframe that changes everything. What if, instead of seeing money as something you earned, you saw it as something that has the potential to multiply? A dollar spent on a dinner out is consumed, gone. A dollar invested has a future. A possible $10 future, a $50 future, a $200 future. Quietly wealthy people aren't cheap. They're acutely aware that every spending decision is also a compounding decision. There's a question they ask almost unconsciously before any significant purchase. What is this dollar's highest use? Sometimes the answer is the dinner. Rest, joy, and relationships have real value, but often, more often than most people admit, the answer is the index fund, the retirement account, the asset. Train yourself to feel the weight of both options before you swipe. That friction alone changes behavior. Move 3. They chase leverage, not just income. Working more hours is one strategy for making more money. It's also the least scalable strategy on the planet. There are only 24 hours in a day. You can only charge so much per hour. You can only work so many years. Quietly wealthy people obsess over a different question. How do I make money that doesn't require me to show up? Dividend-paying stocks pay you every quarter whether you're working or on vacation. A rental property generates rent while you're at your kid's soccer game. A business system, once built correctly, can run without you at the center of every decision. These aren't passive income fantasies. They're leverage. And leverage is what separates people who trade time for money from people who own systems that generate money. Start small. One index fund, one automated contribution, one income stream that doesn't require your direct presence. Then build from there. Move 4. They don't let their lifestyle chase their income. This is the trap that swallows high earners whole. It's called lifestyle creep, and it's almost invisible while it's happening. You get a $15,000 raise. Suddenly, the apartment feels a little cramped. The car feels a little outdated. The vacation destination moves from Cancun to the Maldives. None of these feel like reckless decisions in the moment. Collectively, they consume every extra dollar before it ever gets the chance to compound. Quietly wealthy people do something radical when their income increases. They don't change anything immediately. They let the raise sit. They invest the difference first. Then, if lifestyle improvements still feel necessary, they fund them from investment growth. not from income increases. When your income goes up by $1,000 a month and your investments go up by $1,000 a month, that is genuine wealth acceleration. When your income goes up by $1,000 and your expenses go up by $100, you're moving backward in slow motion. Move 5. They find excitement in boring returns. Social media has completely distorted people's expectations of investing. Everyone's showing their biggest wins. The crypto trade that 10x, the stock that tripled in a week. Nobody posts the year they dollar cost averaged into a total market index fund and earned a calm, unremarkable 9.4%. But here's what boring really looks like over time. $400 a month invested from age 28 to age 65, earning an average of 8% annually, becomes roughly $1.1 million. No hot tips, no timing the market, no panic sells, just consistent, automated, painfully boring investing. Quietly wealthy people have made peace with boring. They've stopped competing with headlines. They invest in broad, proven vehicles, automate the contributions, and then, critically, they stop looking. Checking your portfolio daily is how emotional investors make expensive mistakes. Quiet investors set it, forget it, and let time do the heavy lifting. 6. They've stopped performing wealth. There's a population of people in this country wearing $400 sneakers with a $200 bank account balance. Social media has gamified the performance of wealth to the point where looking successful has become more important to many people than being financially secure. Quietly wealthy people have exited that game entirely. They don't need the car to communicate their status. They don't need the watch to feel significant. They've found something more valuable than admiration: indifference to comparison. When you stop needing to impress people, you stop hemorrhaging money in service of their opinions. This isn't about deprivation. It's about clarity. Money not spent performing wealth is money working toward actual wealth. Move 7. They automate so they can't fail. Willpower is a finite resource. Motivation is seasonal at best. Discipline, despite what productivity culture tells you, is not something most humans can sustain through years of sacrifice. Quietly wealthy people solve this problem by removing willpower from the equation entirely. They automate their savings. They auto-enroll in retirement contributions. They set recurring transfers to investment accounts the day after payday, so the money is never emotionally available to spend in the first place. You cannot spend what isn't there. Build the system so that wealth building happens by default, not by choice. 8. Time is the asset most people waste. Every year you delay starting is not just a year of missed contributions. It's a year of compounding that never happens. And compounding is exponential, which means the years you miss early matter more than the dollars you contribute later. Quietly wealthy people start before they're ready. They start small. They start imperfect. Because they understand that in long-term investing, time is more powerful than timing, amount, or stock selection. The person who invests $200 a month for 35 years will almost certainly outperform the person who invests $600 a month for 15 years, even though the second person is putting in more money. Start now. Optimize later. 9. They build a wealthy identity first. This one is counterintuitive. Your financial reality follows your identity, not the other way around. Most people say, "I'll start being serious about money once I have more of it." Quietly wealthy people decide who they are first. I am someone who builds wealth. And then they find ways to act consistently with that identity, regardless of what the account balance says today. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes habits. Habits compound into outcomes. The math only gets to work once the identity is in place. Ask yourself, is your current relationship with money the relationship of a builder or a consumer? Because both identities are self-fulfilling. 10. Freedom is the goal, not status. Everything circles back to this. Status chasing is expensive because status requires an audience. It requires constant spending to maintain. It creates financial pressure that never fully releases because there's always someone with a bigger house, a newer car, a more impressive life to compare yours against. Freedom requires no audience. It requires only the discipline to invest consistently until the day your money generates more options than your anxiety generates fears. The freedom to turn down work that doesn't align with your values. The freedom to take time off without financial panic. The freedom to walk away from situations that aren't serving you. That's quiet wealth, not a number on a balance sheet. A life where money is no longer the dominant force making your decisions for you. The 10 habits aren't complicated. They're just deeply countercultural in a world that profits from your spending and ignores your compounding. The question isn't whether the strategy works. The question is whether you're willing to be boring, patient, and consistent long enough to let it. Most people aren't, and that's exactly why it works so well for the ones who are. Know in the comments what you have gained from this video so that we can improve and keep doing that better. Don't forget to share this video with at least one person who will get some insights, because one video is enough to give people enough ideas to change their lives. And also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video.